This story is called Fired in Florida.
I worked for 8 years of my 20s in that exact same Christian bubble I'd grown up in, although I moved to Florida early on after I realized that Bill Popchus was never going to make good on his promise of building a massive religious TV network and hire me as his head of programming. I packed everything I owned into my station wagon, which I bought because I knew Florida was going to be expensive and I might just need a car big enough lengthwise to sleep in. I knew I wasn't ready for Los Angeles just yet, and that a good mid-sized city like West Palm Beach, Florida would be a great place to transition into the man I wanted to be. Reruns of 30-something had already consumed my life and changed it for the better. I wanted sophisticated, thoughtful, ambivalent friends like the characters on that show. More people like Jana and Jennifer. I wanted to understand people from backgrounds other than my own. I was trying to understand what it was like to be Jewish, to be African American, Hispanic, to grow up in a home that didn't think using hairspray made my hair, quote, look like a Muppet, and therefore, quote, a pantheistic creation of New Age charlatan Jim Henson, to quote the leader of our family. In Florida, I worked for a local Christian TV station putting Life in the Word with Joyce Meyer on the air at the crack of dawn. I worked in master control as the guy who hits play at the top of each hour. I made $6 an hour and my rent was $485 a month. I couldn't survive on that, so I began working overnight shifts too. That lasted 6 months, until my boss walked into the station and found me on the floor, lights dimmed, asleep, alarm clock next to my head, sheet over my body, like a corpse waiting for a hearse. I was gently let go in the nicest, most godly way. We think it's time for you to leave TV 67 and pursue the next ministry God has lying in wait for you. Jana and Dr. Jennifer visited my home on Cha-Cha several times. We noticed that the neighbor in the apartment next to mine always parked his taxi out front. I don't know why this mattered to us, but it did. We imagined him coming home, loosening his tie, and saying to his wife, "Honey, put something fancy on. Maybe that red dress I like, and some heels. I'm taking you out to dinner, and we're taking the company car." I don't know why that was so funny, but from then on, we referred to the taxicab as, quote, the company car. I worked at a religious bookstore called Inspiration House for 5 years alongside some of the Earth's best women, Joni Orton, Marcia Street, and Karen Schnurr, who remains one of my closest friends to this day. I also met a young woman named Letitia Waters, who came in looking for a Kirk Franklin CD she wanted to share with her inner city impact kids to get them excited about contemporary gospel music. I asked her about the organization, as I was certain by then I wasn't going to be a father biologically. I didn't want to be one either, but I did want to leave my mark behind on kids who might need me. I never felt we were just on this earth to live a good life and die. I had become a little self-involved in my career of interviewing celebrities for religious magazines, and it was clear I wasn't doing anything to give back. Letitia brought me to the organization, and by the end of the first night, 5-year-old John and his 7-year-old brother Dale were attached to my hip. 4 years later, when it was finally time to leave for Los Angeles, I took 6 months saying goodbye to my 5 boys, John, Dale, Poochie, Derek, and Datavian. We had gone to Disney World several times, church every weekend, shared Christmases together, hundreds of hours doing charitable work for the community, and I'd even taught them all to ride bikes and swim in the ocean. It was definitely my dad experience in life, and certainly a great 4 years for me. I felt that God had instructed me to be in these boys' lives, and I was rewarded by their presence in mine. I learned so much from those 5 boys, my kids.